Oftentimes, change is not a welcome thing in people's lives. I know I've found it difficult to make certain changes. But in boxing, fighters often find themselves having to change. Such is the case for Brian Mendoza, former junior middleweight contender for titles and jaded with the fact that he wasn't able to be successful in his title challenge. However, he's decided to make some changes, and hopefully the 30-year-old will find a resurrection for his career, because he's still in the sweepstakes when you talk about fighters at the top of the junior middleweight division. And maybe with a renewed interest, he can show us all that change, even later in the career, can prove valuable. Let's talk about this and Mendoza a little further. It was only a short time ago when Brian Mendoza exploded on the scene with one of his outstanding victories. It was his KO over Sebastian Fundora in an exciting fight that saw him really going, blazing, guns blazing. Sebastian Fundora succumbed to Mendoza in 7 rounds, a vicious, brutal knockout which saw Fundora down in the 7th. He appeared to have his bearings, but he accepted the count on the canvas. He didn't get up. That propelled Mendoza into the position of being a WBC interim World Superweight Champion. The title was still in the possession at the time of Jermell Charlo. Even with that success, he found it difficult because his next outing, where he went over to challenge Tim Tszyu in Australia, that was in October of 2023. And though he ended up losing that fight, a unanimous 12-rounder, he showed his mettle, what he's made of. And Tim Tszyu found respect for him because battling in his hometown, Tim Tszyu had everything going for him except for submission from Mendoza. Mendoza fought very hard in that fight, and it was a brutal fight, but he still dropped the decision. Now, I'll tell you, the most interesting situation saw him when he took on, after that, Sergey Bohachuk, and that was in March of 2024, his last fight. He lost a 12-round decision in another fight that was a brutal fight. Mendoza fought Bohachuk to nearly a standoff, but couldn't beat the guy at his own game. So now his record stands at 22-4 with 16 KOs. But he has made, as I stated earlier, changes. What type of changes has he made? Well, he's decided to change his trainer. In an article written in Boxing Scene from August 18th, Mendoza has turned to a new trainer, Bob Santos, as he aims to rebound from a recent unanimous decision loss to Sergey Bohachuk. Mendoza, who has experienced a roller coaster of highs and lows in the past 2 years, sought a change after his last defeat and has parted ways with Ismael Salas. Santos, who's known Mendoza since his early days in Las Vegas, after moving from New Mexico, sees potential in the partnership. He was quoted to have said, "I've known Brian for a long time, since way back in the day when he first got here to Vegas out of New Mexico. I had helped him a few times over at the top-ranked gym and things of that nature, so I've known him for quite a while. And he was looking for a change, and he came over to me. And so far, so good." What I like about this situation is the fact that Mendoza looked to make a change, and it's not blaming Salas, but for a fighter who can recognize that his career is not necessarily going in the direction that he would like, you have to be a little bit proactive. And by going to Santos, it appears that he assessed things and sought someone who was not only familiar with him, but someone who may be able to offer a bit of freshness for an engine that has a few miles on it. And I'm not trying to say that Mendoza is worn, no. But sometimes you may need or require a tune-up. And by going over to Santos, it gives him an opportunity to see and test the waters of what he may still have left in the tank. And you can't fault any fighter for doing that. Mendoza's recent journey includes notable victories, such as his 2022 knockout of Jason Rosario and his stunning knockout over Sebastian Fundora in April of 2023. However, his momentum was halted by back-to-back unanimous decision losses, first to Tim Tszyu in October of 2023, followed by a short-notice loss to Bohachuk. Mendoza stepped in against Bohachuk when Fundora, the original opponent, was elevated to the main event after Keith Thurman withdrew from his fight with Tim Tszyu due to an injury. Santos is optimistic about Mendoza's future under his guidance. He goes on to be quoted, "I like Brian. He's a hard worker. He's been a great addition to my team, so I'm looking forward to him and some of the things we can improve with him. I think that can elevate him just a bit more and maybe get back into world title contention and win another one." Despite Mendoza's intensity and focus, both in and out of the gym, Santos recognizes the need to channel that energy more effectively. Quoted as saying, "He's super intense. There's no two ways about that. Even in the gym, sometimes I gotta tell him, hey, a little bit easier. Don't be so high strung all the time. It's 12 rounds. 12 rounds. We gotta pick our spots sometimes." If Mendoza can listen to that bit of instruction from his trainer, he can go a long way. It was something that I noticed in his fight against Tim Tszyu, that he was fighting at a high-strung rate that you just can't possibly sustain over 12 rounds against top-level fighters. You have to know when to let it down a little bit so you can serve and preserve and have something for a fight that may go the distance. If Santos can point him in that direction, he will definitely have an opportunity at another world title, or at least a title shot. So these are the type of movements that you would like to see from a fighter when they are daring to make a move that is beneficial for them in their career. I like this move by Brian Mendoza. He won me as a fan just seeing how he performs on a regular basis. He's a very intense fighter, like his coach and trainer said, but there's a spirit inside of certain fighters that allows them to perform like that. And he has it all. Reflecting on Mendoza's recent performances, Santos sees room for improvement. Particularly with Mendoza's inside game, he believes these adjustments are crucial for overcoming the challenges Mendoza faced against Bohuchuk, while noting the attributes that saw him score a victory over Fundura, who has since become a dual belt holder in the junior middleweight division. He was super focused for that fight, no two ways about it, Santos said. He was able to pull it off, and that's a testament to him. I think there are some things we can improve on with his inside game, and we've been doing that. Well, shout out to Team Mendoza and Bob Santos, because we need to see fighters prevail and persevere in the sport. We need to see them at their best. And I admire anyone who is willing to make a change for the better. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about Brian Mendoza and the changes that he's made for his career going forward. Do you think it will make a difference? And he will make a difference. Hopefully, it is what it is. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.